let's get started. So hello everyone again. My name is Jenna. I'm the Operations and Programs Manager at the Glass Art Society. And the GAS staff knows just how challenging this past year has been, particularly in the United States. Times are very stressful and anxiety inducing with the current election. But behind the scenes, we have been working really hard to offer a variety of new virtual opportunities to bring the glass community together. So enter in this program, Glass Reflections. So every first Thursday, I'll go live to interview glass artists, business owners, educators, or enthusiasts about how they see glass as a vehicle for self-care and what tools they use to manage the stress of their careers. We'll spend the majority of the time hearing from our guest speaker about their practice and their careers, and then we'll end with a short activity. So then without further ado, today I'm beyond delighted to speak with Yixuan Pan, who is an artist born and raised in Hunan, China. Pan has been exhibited across the United States and internationally, including Japan, Finland, and China. Her anti-disciplinary practice merges multimedia and modes of presentation, such as installation, video, performance, dumpling making, poetry composing, swimming pool exercising, which I think is really interesting, lollipop casting, soap bubble blowing, music therapy operating, and glass shard foraging and recording. There's also window cleaning, love letter whispering, choral conducting, rainbow party hosting, and so many others. Pan currently teaches digital art at Pennsylvania College of Art and Design and is the author of a self-published book, A Skillful Amateur's Records on Glass. So that was a short description of just who Pan is. Is there anything else you would like to share with the audience about who you are and what your career has been thus far?
I want to share about my background. So my background, I have two kites. I don't know if you can see the very tip of it. Then I have a couch, and then I have my cat. He's wearing a red vest, sleeping with his friend, stuffed leopard, whose name is Marianne Williamson. And then behind this background is the city of Philadelphia. That's where I live right now, and also where I teach. This current background is where my students also see every time when I teach, because right now we're doing virtual learning, so teaching online.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. That's a great point. And I've noticed that in various other programs also in introductions is giving a background, like the physical background of where you are to kind of build that human connection. So in the same vein, these are all of my books I have behind me. A lot of them are art associated. And my apartment, I live in Capitol Hill, Seattle, Washington. So we're on two different sides of the country.
Yeah, you still have daylight. I have, it's already dark, so I have to turn all my lights on.
Oh yeah, same. It is quickly getting dark here. Great. So then I also would love to know how you are connected to GAS and what some of your experiences with GAS have been thus far.
Yeah, so I went to my first GAS conference, I believe in 2017. At the time, I was an MFA student at Tyler School of Art. And it was amazing going to the GAS conference to see so many people working with glass in many different ways, have different skill levels. I mean, most of them are very, has really fruitful experience that I could never imagine. So it's usually when we're talking about glass, people study glass and it's like very mysterious. Like, oh my God, glass I've never heard of, really refreshing new. But there it's like a family of people studying glass, working with glass, exploring different possibilities of this material. So it's a great resource. It's like meeting a big family that you never met. So I really enjoyed the experience of going to the conference. And also, I think the GAS website is another very great database. Um, I like I do a lot of research there, and I found opportunities there.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Yay, that's our goal. So I'm glad that that's coming across. Awesome. So then getting a little bit into your art practice, on your website, you mention, and quote, questioning the linguistic structures people learn and unlearn in relation to comfort, emotional temperature, transparency, hierarchy, and power dynamics, end quote. And I would love if you can maybe expand on this and what some of those themes mean to you in your art practice related to glass.
Um, yeah, so I came to the States as an international student in 2012. And since then, I kind of like have been disconnected from my mother tongue, which is Mandarin Chinese. And I have been operating almost exclusively in a foreign language in my, both my adult and professional life. So like I have experienced, or I'm still experiencing um, a lot of difficulties in this language. And I also experienced things that I believe native speakers don't really notice. I'm trying to value those experiences and use that in my work. And I believe that is what made me really interested in language as an overall topic. Um, I believe like language is a living and breathing thing. It evolves with humanity. It never, just stays there. So that's why I said language has temperature, and I'm interested in exploring the live the lively the liveliness the the liveliness of 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 language. And then also another part I think I mentioned comfort, right? Comfort of language. In that I think I mostly meant comfort and discomfort of our identities. So our gender pronouns, our accent, our emotions, or even the speeds that when we make up words, use our mouths and use our brain. I think that has a lot to do with, or that is itself, it's kind of like an outcome of our relationship with ourself and being translated, being metaphorically translated or performed through language. Um, and I think, glass also has really um, similar qualities in a way that it translates, but it also, it can see through like a glass. I can see through you, but things change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a beautiful thought to glass. And I'm relatively new to the glass community myself. And so just in this past year, I've learned a lot about how it as a material can be really flexible, but also, can then hardens after, it's been heated and after it's malleable. And so it's interesting to hear people's emotional connection to a medium that in and of itself is constantly transforming.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm also curious to hear from you as an artist. How do you integrate self-care into your practice?
I feel um, like self-care is art, and art is self-care. Art has been self-care for me. I think, looking back, not only including the time that was my work was more material based or more object based, or to from now my practice kind of transformed into a conceptual driven kind of, I use the term anti-disciplinary type of practice. It's always have this function of self-reflection, um, self-learning, self-examining, and also hope for self um, improvement, self-expression, and that is the same as how I understood as self-care. Also, like in American lexicon, self-care is a rather new word, is newer than self-reliance, and especially, after 2000, it rose kind of as a collective practice alongside with the rise of a collective anxiety level. So I have been in my work, I have been exploring this experience that we collectively search for self-care. Like, in my window cleaning piece, I literally like let a mindfulness workshop exercise with people. And also I've been dreaming about making this collective cooking project with people that we doing our own cooking, but in the same space, cooking for the same meal. How that changes the kind of the quantity and then the quality of self-care.
Interesting. I would be curious to hear what maybe in Chinese Mandarin, what the word for self-care is, and do you see like the difference in those types of word usage or definitions even?
That is a very good question.
It kind of just popped into my head, but yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I have to do more research because self-care, like, of course I can translate like word by word to Chinese, but I wonder what is the trendy word for that right now, because self-care is a trendy word. It's a word for the generation of millennials that myself is a part of, right? Like, but I don't know. We always say like you have to treat yourself well, especially I think in a consumerism driven society. We talk about like women have to be good for yourself. Therefore, you have to put more skincare product on yourself. You have to eat more avocado sandwiches,
Yeah.
But I really think self-care is more than shopping, more than putting things on you. It's more about like evaluating yourself, listen and express, and like so like a way to treat anxiety almost. Yeah. So I think like I wonder maybe because at least I don't feel like self-care as a word is like as popular as it's here in America or in Western culture, in English speaking culture. So maybe that also reflects different culture have been experiencing different things. Because the reason I think we're talking about self-care is because that's what we need. Like that's what is lacking right now, because we're occupied by anxiety. Yeah.
I definitely hear that. And I also would love to hear a little bit more about how this current climate of COVID-19 pandemic and we're starting to notice different cities in the States and even different countries are starting to shut down again. And I am curious to hear, you started to mention a new project that you're working on. And so how have you been using your time indoors for your art practice?
So I have like couple of projects I'm either working on physically or meditating in my little brain. uh, so one of it is I started this music project. It's kind of a concept album based on this topic of glass that I finally am working with a musician. Um, and so one of the songs are kind of a love song that I made or I am making with her. The lyrics are all found language from the hot shop, the glass hot shop. So when the glass blowers, glass makers in the hot shop, what they say to each other.
Oh.
And the language itself, it's very sexual, it's very gendered, has a very how do I say this, a very heavy-handed, like a power dynamic there, because that is the at least English speaking glass hot shop culture. So by using those words and then repurposing them, making into a love song, I really want to take ownership of the the sexiness, the funness, the power in the hot shop. And I want, I hopefully this piece can, make into a music video, and not only for a space like Glass Hot Shop, also other places like Glass Hot Shop that some people feel repressed, that can offer some freedom, uh, some space for women, for women of color to share.
Wow, that's fantastic, and I definitely look forward to seeing that
Thank you.
alive.
Also, I also another part that I've been thinking about, or I've been spending my time is I wonder, I can't not stop wondering, what is the life gonna be after the pandemic? Like, let's say we have vaccine that worked perfectly, being invented, and we're all immune to this disease. So all of a sudden, COVID doesn't exist. But, is our humanity gonna go back to what was before? Like, I really don't think so. I think it's going to be post pandemic, you know, age. So I think there's gonna be, even though, the disease is not gonna be threatening anymore, but I think we have a lot of work to do to repair the trust, to restore some of this like physical interaction, to rebuild some intimacy of our community together. So I am really interested in that thought, and I want to make some work about it. I'm still figuring it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I am also very curious, especially how the art community, whether it's specific to glass or even in other mediums, how they respond in this post-traumatic world in society. And just someone commented, rebuilding intimacy, like how would that translate into works of art, especially if we keep living in a virtual space. And I think there's so much potential for all new types of creativity, and I'm very interested to see what happens.
I will let you know.
Yeah. Oh my, please do. So speaking of a kind of virtual type of art experience, I definitely wanted to give some space to talk about the meditative workshop that you had done for the GAS 2020 virtual conference. And for those of you who have not seen it, definitely recommend going and checking it out. It's a 13-minute performative workshop on cleaning, self-care, and being bored. And it's actually titled How to Clean a Window, Stay Home Edition. So going back several months. Could you maybe explain what it was like to create that piece?
Yeah. So I think if I were to summarize the experience, I think it was um, real and, or let me change a word, grounding and dreamy. So I'll explain the first part, grounding, because I think, at first I was so excited to be invited to do this. In the beginning it was a live performance in
Mhm.
Sweden, and this piece originally was kind of inspired from my research I did in Finland. So, in Sweden, it's important to be there. Talked about this development of glass industry in that area. And then it was a huge bummer that, not for myself, for everyone, we're all, affected by COVID-19. So it changed to virtual. And that became a challenge because not only it can't be live, it also has to be, I still want some sort of interaction. And then the world is different. How can I just make it work the same when everything else is different? Um, so I thought it was exciting and scary. But then when I'm trying to work on it's all starting to make sense. Like, I am an artist living in Philadelphia, can't not really leave my house, and I'm trying to lead this performative workshop through a video with people I don't really know, right?
Mhm.
I think itself, it's really like it felt really fulfilling, like I'm doing something um, that's reflecting on my life. At the same time, like oh, and I got to work with my partner on this project. He helped me do the compositing, so that is, awesome. We took some liberty with the video because it is a video, it's not a live performance anymore, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then at the same time, I want to talk about like why I felt dreamy because I don't know if you felt this, like when COVID just started, we are stuck home and then the weather just so beautiful, like at least in Philadelphia. Every like time start to feel kind of how I experienced time felt different.
Mhm.
So um, when the video was shooting, um, that day, the clouds was very dancey. The clouds was moving in and out over the sound. So it changed the lighting in my room a lot. It's the same room, the living room.
Mhm.
That made the video has a huge like light shift, in and out, dark and light. Um, that wasn't planted, but then later when we were watching the video, it felt like it really not only captured like the sense of time going by, being intangible, also it kind of reflected our mental state, our psychological state being very like, it's kind of like a turbulence, right?
Mhm.
Uh, that is like when I'm thinking about it, it's like how I felt of the whole process of making that video.
Mhm. Wow, how interesting. Um, I have so many thoughts. That's lovely. Um, okay, now um, that we've kind of revisited and reflected on what it was like then making it and what the environment was like then, kind of transporting that to today, do you think that it becomes any more or less impactful, or that we're still in quarantine, or some of us are still in quarantine and at home? How do you think that changes this piece, or what do you see as this piece now in this current climate?
Yeah, definitely think about this piece, not a lot, about here and there, because we are living this new normal.
Mm-hmm.
um, my cat just jumped on me. This is also new normal. When you're doing work, that your
Mhm.
cat just visits you. Um, but like we are, more and more face shields are covered our faces, and those acrylic walls, dividers are being placed in public spaces. And I don't remember when was the last time I shook someone's hand or even hugged someone. At the same time, we're still having our daily life, like, the way we're talking
Mhm.
through uh, uh, our cameras, webcam, and I teach my student through a virtual space.
Right.
Like, I think in my video there was a line. I think it's reinforce your protection and
Mhm.
display your vulnerability. So,
Yes.
yes, so it's a world full of different ways to protect ourselves, and also the protection became surveillance, that we all are vulnerable.
Mhm.
Under the structure of surveillance. So
Mhm.
I'm really thankful that many people can join us. People I know, people I don't know, people I don't know yet. But
Mhm.
it is like a very new and vulnerable experience being exposed and being exposed and to talk about my very deep thought process reflecting glass and
Right.
reflecting my um, creative process.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Lovely. So I would like to spend maybe a couple of minutes shifting from your art practice with glass and this performative meditative workshop to some of your more literary artworks. And so would you care to share maybe an excerpt from your self-published book, A Skillful Amateur's Records of Glass, for us today?
Um, yes, actually, I have the book right next to me.
Yay. Look
Oh, I
at
didn't know.
that.
You told me. Yes. Yes, I am happy to. So, I'm going to read from the last poem, and this poem is kind of a mixtape with two languages, Chinese and English. Okay. The title is It. 它 Miss 悟 Understanding 解因无 Competent Hostility 能力的仇视 Cliches 陈词滥调们 May 也会 Update 更新换代 Men 人 Will get old 老了 and leave 会死读不懂 always 永远 have 有 more 好多 to understand 命同 while 时 new methodology 方法论也 is 永远 expected 期待着 to be 被 created 创造 the 繁花 randomness 和 of 世界 cosmos 的 and 无 flowers 序 chaos 乱 discover 探索 n 个 aspect 切面 even by taking advantage of yourself 在这个过程中利用自己也是好的把 to 失落了 sort out 的 the last 整理出来赞 compliments 美 are cheap 其实特别轻。Weight 无关 nothing 痛痒。去 join 连结 join together。There 会 will be light 有光。
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Absolutely. So we're kind of getting down to the end of today's program, but I did want to offer, if anyone in the audience has any questions for Pan, you're welcome to just leave a little comment in the video right now. We'll also have Pan's contact information if anyone would like to reach out and continue this conversation. Thank you so much, Pan, for joining us and sharing both your story, some of your past practice, your current practice. And I'm so excited to see where this new project goes, especially kind of combining that music into your visual art. And so for those who are here, we also thank you for joining. This program is going to be uploaded to the GAS platforms soon. With that, it'll also include Pan's information, and we look forward to seeing everyone next month. So thank you all so much for joining today.
Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, everyone.